Come in. This is a class to help you unbox your silhouette, whether it's new, just got it maybe recently, or you got one for Christmas and you haven't taken it out of the box yet, or maybe you've had one for a while and you just haven't like got up the gumption to go like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So this is your soft introduction to unboxing your silhouette and getting it set up. And we're gonna show 3 different projects that you can make with your digital cutter. Now, I want you guys to feel free throughout the workshop, use that Q&A section. We will keep our eye on that and try and answer those questions as we go along. And if they're relevant to everybody, we will certainly give those a shout out and say, hey, can you answer this one live? So please use that Q&A section. This is your chance to interact with me and ask questions about the different machines. Now, I have used a silhouette. I went back to try and figure it out. It has been, I think the silhouette was my first digital cutter. So I've used a silhouette for a very long time. The portrait was a new model for me. So I thought we would unbox with the portrait size today. Whichever machine you're unboxing, the items inside the box should be about the same. You may have a few extra pieces if you're doing a Cameo, but if you're doing a portrait, you'll be able to follow along right along with me. So let's go ahead and open up this package. If you have not opened yours up, this is your opportunity to go ahead and get this guy out of the box. So what you'll have when you open up your package, you've got some like inspiration on the top, which is always fun. And inside you will have a few things on top. One is your setup documentation. So this will give you the links to where you need to go to set up your machine. And then a little bit of information about your machine, as well as information on how to register. And then below that is another little box, which we'll get into that in just a second. And then your machine is tucked down in here. Now I just pull out everything. So the styrofoam comes out with me and everything. Okay, so we'll just set this box aside and continue opening up. Now I keep my styrofoam pieces on any machine I get with the boxes, because if for any reason you had to send it back or anything like that, you'll have everything you need right in there. Okay, so you've got your mat, your cutting mat. So mine's portrait. It's a small size to fit with the portrait. If you're using a Cameo, you'll have a 12 by 12 size. Okay, and then you've got your little protective wrapping here. So you want to go ahead and pull that off. And then you'll notice you have some blue tape at different strategic points on your machine. So the blue tape is an indication that you need to open up your machine and remove the tape. So you don't want to keep that blue tape on there. You're going to go ahead and remove your tape. And it comes on both the top and the bottom of your blade. And double check. Like I said, I did open this already. Make sure there's no, oh, there it is. I knew there was a little piece of styrofoam. So there's, on the other side of my little blade is a little piece of styrofoam. You want to remove any styrofoam that's inside of your machine. So go ahead and make sure you've got all the styrofoam out. I think it's just that one little piece there. And then you can turn it over and make sure there's no styrofoam on the back or anything like that. While you're back here, take a look at for your registration, not your registration, but your number on the back. This is your serial number on the back of your machine. I don't think it's on, looking to make sure it's not on the bottom, but I think it's just this number here is your serial number. Should have my reading glasses, but just want to make sure you have your serial number, because when you register your machine, you'll need to have your serial number with that. Now, our little triangle of goodies. We should have 2 packages in there. One pack will have your cord, and this is the cord that connects to the wall, to your outlet and your machine. So this is how you get the power to your machine. You'll have one part that is your wall outlet piece, and then your second part that goes into your machine. So we can just pop that open like that, and you'll notice you have like the little protective sleeve on your piece there. So now you're ready to plug that in. I have an outlet right here. And with this side, you just plug that into the box. And then we can plug it into the machine. Now, I do want to point out, like, if for any reason you are not getting your connection, or you're like, hey, it's not turning on, make sure all these parts are connected in together. So, you know, if it doesn't turn on right away, just pull that out, put it back in, make sure your outlet's working, and then make sure that your plug into your machine is pushed in all the way. So we just push that right in there, and you'll hear it kind of snap a little bit. Now you'll notice also that you have another little spot there, and that hole is for your USB connector. So you can connect your machine wired or wireless. They are Bluetooth compatible, so you don't have to use the cord that comes with it. You can just connect it Bluetooth, which I'll go ahead and try and do that. I don't know if I've got my computer set up with the Bluetooth on this machine yet, but we'll go ahead and give that a shot. And so here's my cord if I did want to plug it in for wired. Now, I don't really have a difference if I use the USB port to connect it to my device versus going Bluetooth. So I have no problem using the Bluetooth functionality. I will say the first couple of years I had machines that connected Bluetooth. It was always kind of a struggle for me. I'd always call my kids and be like, why can't I get this to connect? Always user error, but sometimes that Bluetooth, there's different spots that you have to look at. Like, is it turned on in your settings? Did you have to push a button on the device to get it to turn on? So there's always a little bit more. So if you're more comfortable using the wire, go ahead by all means and use it wired. That's not a big deal. It's just nice if you're working across the room from where your device is. Now you also will have your blade in the bag. So we'll want to open up your bag. And this has your blade in it. And this is the auto blade. So it automatically has like a little magnet on the back. When you install this into your machine, you just drop it into this carrier spot here and push it down. Actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing this backwards. You need to pull out the, there's like you'll see this little piece right here. When it's pushed in, it's got like a blue dot on it. You want to pull that out and then drop your blade into there. The auto blade will automatically adjust the depth of your blade based on your settings in the software. So you don't have to like finagle with anything. You don't have to move anything. It automatically sets that for you. So you just push that back in until you see that blue light again. It's not really a light. It's just a little blue tab. Then you have your marker adapter, which also has the magnetic on the back of it. So that's your marker adapter. And if you need to change your blade down the line, you can use this tool to change your blade. So keep those little parts and pieces tucked away somewhere safely. And that is all you have to do to get your machine out of the box. So you've got it out of the box and you have it plugged into your outlet, and you've got your blade in and you're ready to turn it on. So to turn it on, there's a little power button right here, and we're just going to turn on. And there you go. So you've got your machine all set up. Now, I will say one other thing to kind of take into consideration is when you place your machine somewhere, you want to make sure that you have enough room behind your machine to allow the mat to pull through your machine. So if I had material on this mat and I were cutting with this, I'd want to have enough room for the mat to kind of come out the back and then be able to slide back and forth. So you don't want to have it like right up against a wall. A lot of people put it on a cart, and the cart is great because you can slide it into a closet and pull it out. I always think if you want to craft, you want to have your tools out and easy to use. If you have to pull it out and set it up every time, and then put it away, that is an obstacle. So if you have like a little rolling cart, you want to put your machine on, you can do that. I think this one is so cute and little, like I almost want to leave it on my kitchen counter next to the toaster so I can use it all the time. All right, so that's all we need to do to get our setup done. Does anybody have any questions to does anybody have any questions before we move on? I don't see anything in the Q&A. We've got some weather updates, which I love, but I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A. So I'm going to assume everybody's got theirs out of their box and you're ready to move on. For this part, I'm going to do a presentation in slides to show you the next steps and it allows me to kind of zoom in a little bit on things. So I'm going to show you how to access the setup, the software, how to register your machine, and then how to make your first cut. I will, like I said, I have 3 projects to work with. We're going to do something in vinyl, something with cardstock, and I'll show you the stickers. So it's going to be a fun adventure. And I do also have my Cameo set up behind me. So if I'll pull that up maybe for one project so you guys can see that project in action. But you do want to just keep in mind, you want to have that space behind it and ready to go. All right, so let me go into share my screen here. So Kathy, that's a good question. Is it normal to make a humming noise when not in use? I have not noticed a humming noise in mine when it's not in use, but a lot of electrical devices do make a humming noise, believe it or not, when they're not used. Think about your refrigerator, your dishwasher. So that's a good question. I would check and see, maybe do you have it on anything? Does it make a difference where you move it? And then if that's a concern for you, I would definitely reach out to Silhouette support and see if they can tell you if that's normal or not, what you need to do. All right, so with your Silhouette, whatever you dream, you can cut out. So what we're going to do first is head over to the Silhouette homepage. Their webpage is silhouetteamerica.com. And this is where you can find so much information about your Silhouette device, as well as where you go to download your software and get started. So what we're going to do next is, sorry about that. You're going to go in and set up an account. Now, to set up an account, when you go to the main page here, the landing page on their website, up in this top right-hand corner, you'll notice there's a magnifying glass, the little profile picture, and a shopping cart. So when you click on that profile picture, this will take you in to set up an account. Now, if you have an existing account, you just can sign in using your existing account. If you don't have an existing account, you want to create an account. So it doesn't matter how many machines you have or different types of Silhouette machines you have, however many machines you have and however many devices you use, you'll only need one account. So I can be on a laptop, a desktop, my mobile devices, and it's still all the same account. So once you set up your account, this is where we go to register our machine. So if you have, go ahead, hopefully you guys have all taken your machines out of your box now, and you've got them set up at least out of the box, if not plugged in and ready to go. So you could follow along with these steps with me. So from the website, you want to choose what language you'll be using. So if you have options on your languages, so go ahead and choose your language, and then you'll start going through the process of registering your machine and then downloading the software. So when you register your machine, you do need to have your what's that called? What I call the serial number that's on the back of your machine. You do need to have that number to register your machine. So you want to go ahead and enter that information into there. So right now you won't need to have Design Studio open yet. Right now we're just getting your software set up. So if you already have Design Studio, then you're good to go. You're good. So we're good to go. All right. So once you've downloaded the software onto your computer, and go ahead and run that process go ahead and start that process now if you need to. It'll take me a couple minutes to get through our slides, so that can be running in the background, and you can download your software. I want to touch a little bit about Silhouette Studio and what makes it, I think, such a great tool to use. So the basic model of Silhouette Studio really has a lot of features that are very relevant and helpful to what you need. Like the basic edition gives you access to the design store content. It gives you access to fonts that you have installed on your computer. It allows you to import images, convert them into cut designs. It allows you to design your own content with different design tools, and it allows you to send your projects to your machine. So that's like the basic version of Silhouette Studio. And I always think that the basic version of any software is always the best place to start. And then as you start going like, oh, I wish I could, or if only it would let me, oh, it would be great if it could do this, then that lets you know, okay, you're ready to sort of step up your game. Now, when you're ready to step up your game, you can choose a different type of software. And let me just see my next screen here. You can choose a different type of software that allows you to go the next level. And each level up is a little bit more robust than the last level. So like for me, I went all the way to the business edition because I wanted to be able to save my files that I created as SVGs, but also I wanted the rhinestone feature. My daughter and I were making cheer bows at the time, and that was something we really needed to make cheer bows. So we went all the way up to that business edition. But you can see there's like little step ups along the way, and you can gradually improve on your software. So I love that feature in the Silhouette Studio, that the software will grow with your crafting. So it's very basic, user-friendly, easy to get started with. And then as your crafting grows, it'll grow with you. Or if you're coming in and wanting to do something else, then you have the software to grow with you. Like a lot of people will come in. I also use the Glowforge Aura. And I see a lot of people on the Facebook group saying, oh, I use my Silhouette software to design with, and then I download the image and then I upload it into the Aura software. So it's a really good software. So it's going to grow with you and you'll learn with it. And within Silhouette, they have a whole education program, Silhouette Studio 101, that you can kind of follow along with and learn about. And one other thing I'll say about the software, the upgrades are a one-time purchase. So when you buy the business edition, you have the business edition. Like you don't have to renew it every year. You don't pay for a monthly fee. You just do that one-time upgrade, and then you've got that software. So once you've downloaded the software, you're going to go ahead and open it on your desktop, and that's whether you're using a PC or a Mac version. Now, I do use a PC, so I'm not super familiar with if the Mac looks a little different or not. I haven't really read that much about it. I should probably educate myself a bit more on that, but I mostly use it. I only use it on a PC version, so that's what my slides will be. If you're on a Mac, it may look a little bit different. So in this home screen, it mostly stays the same throughout your whole process in the software. So I kind of want to just navigate you around the software so that you are comfortable understanding where to find different things. So along this top, right underneath where it says Silhouette Studio, you'll notice you have very standard looking icons there that say like File, Edit, View, Panels, Object, and Help. Those are all like your basic, they function very much like a Microsoft Word program would function. The two that are a little bit different are that Panels and the Object. So Panels will be all of your editing tools, you'll find under the panels, and that's what's also along the right side of the software. And then the object refers to what you have selected on the page. So the center of the canvas is your page, and what you have selected on the page refers to the object. So that's like that first top part there. And then as you continue to move along through, on the left side, you have tools that you use to create with. So that first one is the shape select tool. And guys, this class is being recorded, so you can go back and watch this and make notes if you want. And I'll also share a link to the presentation if that would help anybody down the line. On the left side though, these are the tools to create with. So you have your shape select tool, the point edit tool, and that's a great feature. It took me a while to get comfortable with how to use that, but that's really where you can go in and warp and move things around with the point edit tool. You have the line tool, shapes, your freehand drawing tool, text creation, notes, eraser, and the knife. Now the notes section is also a really great point to remind everybody that you can save your work either in the Silhouette Studio software or on your hard drive. Either way, you can save that work in those two different places. Now, as we continue to move around the screen on the right side here, you'll notice that you have a feature called page setup. So the page setup is, let's see, this side over here where it says page setup on the right. This is where this page setup directly correlates to the page that you see on the center of your screen. And that's like your canvas. That's where you're creating, but that ultimately is your page. So if you think of your page like your cutting mat, that's what you're creating on. And you have a couple different ways to change this, like how you're feeding your material, if you're using a mat, what type of mat you're using, what size mat, your material size, and your mat size. And then down below, you have the option to choose if you want to see the print border, which is that smaller rectangle, or do you want to see the cut border, which is the larger rectangle. So that's the page setup, and that's how that looks right there. Now, as you move along on that very right side of the software, you'll notice that you have a lot of additional tabs to choose in there. So we'll kind of go through those a little bit, but I want to encourage everybody to sort of explore those on your own, because these are all like extra special tools. And this is where it relates to the panels along the top left there. So you have the specialty tools, and this is like if you're using the Cameo with the rotary blade or something like that. You have the pick scan mat. You have the filling option, which is that little palette, and that's what you use if you're printing something. So, or if you want to just see how your colors are going to look if you're cutting out layers of vinyl. You have the line color also for printing, or if you want to see how the lines are going to look. The tracing panel, image effects, the text style panel, the transform, replicate, the modify, which allows you to weld your images together or slice them apart, the offset feature, and the pop-up feature, which allows you to take a card and make it into a pop-up, stipple, and sketch. So you have all of those different tools on that right-hand side. You also have along the bottom here, your cut settings, as well as your test cut. And let me see, they're not showing up on that slide, are they? Sorry, let me just go one more on that slide. Oh, nope, I'm sorry, I missed it. On the bottom left, you have the cut settings, your test cut, and how to modify the force. That's, you know, I've got my notes wrong. Sorry, guys, I jumped ahead there. This next screen is when you're ready to add something to your canvas, you want to, why is it doing that? I'm trying to go backwards. Nope. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to go backwards in my presentation and it's not letting me. My apologies, guys. All right. Technology, right? Am I right? Technology kills me every time. All right, so I've got that ready to go again, and I have a question here that I'm going to read and see if we can answer it. I bought a Silhouette Cameo 5 last week. Congratulations. And I have been trying to use it. I can't get it to cut where I want it to. I'm fine using the software. It's the cutting I've been having issues with. All right. So you're having troubles getting it cut, and even when you leave a border. It's hard to say without seeing it, what might be happening. So maybe once we get to the cutting part of it, you'll be able to see how I set it up, and maybe we can troubleshoot it there. If we don't get an answer for you during the workshop, let me come back to this question once we're at the machine, and maybe we can get an answer. And then I would encourage you to go ahead and reach out to support for that on that one. But let's see if we can get an answer while we're working through stuff. Okay, so let me come back in and share my screen again, and we'll finish up this presentation. I hope you guys are finding this helpful. When you have your sorry, slideshow, current slide. Okay, so when you're ready to enter an image, add something onto the canvas, and you want to work with an image, not just a shape, you want to go into your library. Now, you do, when you get your machine, depending on your machine, you get free images, and then you can purchase images a la carte. So just if you're going to use, if you're working like on birthday and you're like, I just need 3 birthday images, you can go in and purchase those birthday images, and then you can use those birthday images. If you wanted to, you could do a whole program, and on the Design Store website, they have information about the different programs that are available for you to use. So when you go into your library and you click on your free content, you'll notice that you have a lot of different choices to work with. And you can organize your content into folders here. So I have my folders. I try and keep them organized, but you know, a creative mind doesn't always work out so well like that. So I thought, since everyone should have the star card, this would be the image that I cut. So when I bring the star card onto my page, I notice that it comes in vertical, and I want it to be horizontal. So this is where I come up to the Object tab, and I can change specific things about that object. Like I can mirror it, I can align it, I can rotate it. So I wanted to rotate it so it would fit like how it would show on my canvas. And then you also notice that you have the drop down menu on the side. If you right click on your image, that you can adjust it there as well. Now, if you want to add text to your image, you can just come over to the left-hand side, that A, that's your text, and it comes onto your screen like this plus sign, and it'll have a straight line with it that's flashing. My camera didn't catch it. But that's where you just start typing in your words. If you want to, like, if for this card, for example, if you want to cut good job right out of the middle of that card, you would leave those letters right onto the card like they are, and use the send tab up at the top. That would send the information over and prepare you for cutting. So this one, I moved those images down to the side so that they didn't get cut out of the center. But that red line, those are your cut lines. So everywhere you see that dark, thick red line, that's where it's going to cut. If you didn't want something to cut, you could adjust it and say, oh no, don't cut that layer. So if you had good job and it was still right in the center there, you could just say like, oh no, sorry, don't cut that yet. I'll come back to that. Otherwise, you can move it out of the way and cut it out of a different color of paper if you wanted to. So here it is right on top of the card, and it would cut it out of the card right where it is, or you can move that aside. It's totally up to you. You can cut it on one mat, and which is what I'm going to show you what I do, or you can cut it on two mats. Actually, I may have to cut it on one mat since I'll be using the portrait. So we'll get into that. We do have another silhouette decor class coming up March 21st at 7 o'clock. And so we'll be doing a little bit more with vinyl and creating decor and using more of the software to do that. So, all right. So except for the cutting question, are there any other questions you guys have about getting your software downloaded and set up and ready to go? All right, if not, we're going to go in and start cutting. Now, I think the first thing I'll cut on, because I have the portrait out, will be some vinyl. So what I wanted to do was grab all my tools here. I have this little candy jar. Now, upcycling is so good and to do. So I have this candy jar I got from IKEA, and I change out my design frequently, like based on the holiday. So I just took off a Valentine's design, and I'll put on more of a little St. Patrick's Day design. So using the little lips with the kits from it. And this is a Cricut library, Cricut design store design. So really easy to use. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to share my screen again. And this time I will open up my software here so we can see. So one of the cool things that I really like about the software is that you can have multiple pages open at one time. So you can, I can go back in, and I have our 3 projects already right here ready to go. So I can just open up a page, work on it, open a different page, and work on that page as I go along. So to add an image to my page, all I have to do is either go to my library of images or go to the store and find an image, or you can open up an image on your device. So if you've gotten images from somewhere outside, if you've created them in a different program, you can just open that file and upload that artwork right onto your page. So this is an image that I have, I've got in my library. I bought it from the design store. So I can just double click on that image and bring it onto my canvas. Now I know it's big and I need to go much smaller. So I would just grab my ruler and measure the front of my candy jar here. So the widest I want to go is 3.5 inches on those lips. So I'll go ahead and take that image and go up to the top here. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. And up to my top bar. So you'll notice that now I have a whole new line of editing tools underneath my first line here. So I just can go in here and change my width of my project to 3.5 inches. And it just drops it right down. Now, I do have my width and height locked in proportion so that it doesn't, it won't change it either way. Like if I change the width, the height will change as well. So you want to have your proportions locked, and then I'm ready to send this over and have this cut. So I'm just going to kind of line that up with there, and I'll cut 2 of these out. Actually, I only need 1 because I already cut 1 out. So I'll just take this one and cut this out. So if I'm ready to cut, I just go to the send function, And I'm going to choose which, let's see, did I choose already? I may need to choose my machine. So I need to choose my machine and make sure that I am connected. So I've got my portrait 3 and I'm going to hit send. Okay, so with this, it tells me I don't have any media loaded. So I need to change my machine. Oh, my machine behind me turned on. Did I not save that? Portrait 3. I'm gonna do manual feed. I'll be doing it a cutting mat. My media size. Now I could change my media size. It could be a little smaller pieces if I wanted to. But I'm ready to go there. So, okay, my portrait 3 is unavailable. Now this is where I was talking about the Bluetooth setting. So I need to go into my settings on my laptop here and make sure that I have connected with the Bluetooth in my settings. So I'm just gonna, you know what, I can share my screen and show you guys how I do that, I think. Let me stop share here. And I'm gonna share my whole screen this time. Okay. Let me just make sure you can see everything. Okay, so I just need to go into my Bluetooth and devices. And I need to make sure that this is listed in my devices. Let me, always gets me. Let's see, devices. So I just am looking for my portrait device here, which I'm not seeing, so I'm just going to add that device. Now, normally, and I want to make sure that my little Bluetooth button is on my machine. Oops, it was there and then it went away, didn't it? There we go. So I just need to choose my portrait 3. I don't know why it's giving me 2 of them. All right, and now I'm connected. Okay, so let me come back here. I'll stop sharing there. Okay, so let me share my screen again. And I see, Kathy, I see your question about making I think a sticker to print a baby book. So we will go into that question for you. I think we'll be able to answer that one. Okay, so now let me make sure I'm connected here. And it says that it is unavailable. Why are you unavailable? Oh, wait a minute. It's saying it. So you see how next to it has that little USB? That tells me that it was trying to look for it as the USB. And it's not USB. I wanted to connect it to Bluetooth. So let me pull that up again so you can see. Each of your machines you can connect either with Bluetooth or with USB. So the little Bluetooth icon are these top 2 and the USB are the next 2. So I'm going to be using my portrait 3 and I'll be using silhouette adhesive vinyl. So you can see this huge list of materials that you can choose from. So I just need to choose my vinyl. And this is basic vinyl. Let's see. I don't know if it's frosted or glossy. I'm guessing it may be glossy. I haven't taken it out of the package yet. Let's see. And it's either glossy or matte. It's going to be one or the other. And it is matte. So I'm going to choose the matte vinyl. and automatically will give me the blade depth, the force, and the speed. I don't have to do anything else. And then I just have to load my media and it's ready, and it'll be ready to cut. So all I have to do is open up my packaging, and I love this little package because it has all of my favorite colors in it, primary colors, which are really cool right now for St. Patrick's Day. I'll do our rainbows. All right. And I do apologize, I'm not able to answer some of your questions because I don't actually work for Silhouette. I'm the tech teacher for Michael's. So some of the questions are more in depth than I know the answer to, and I'm sorry, but I would definitely reach out to Silhouette to get those questions answered if I don't get to them here. Okay, so we've got our matte material here, and I'm going to choose the green color for my lips, and I just need a little bit, so I can either put the whole, like a whole piece of it down, or just a little piece of it. I like to work in smaller portions. It kind of makes it easier, so I'll go ahead and trim this down. And we'll put that on the mat. The struggle's real with the curl, right? So I just need about 4 inches by about 3 inches to cut. And then I'll cut about the same size with the Silhouette transfer tape here. Now, when I use this type of vinyl, I want to put it so that the material is facing up on the mat. If I were using iron-on material, you would turn it over so that your material was, well, the carrier sheet was down on the mat. So we're just going to take this and put this in the upper left corner. And I like to use my little wedge and make sure everything's held down for me. And then we're just going to put it into your machine. And I'm coming at it backwards, so bear with me. And we'll start loading it. So I just push the load button and we'll start loading it. Now what will happen is that I just go back to the software and say send. So I can send that material. Now, if I hadn't cut with this material before, I would do a test cut. And you can just do a little test cut on the corner and it'll just make sure that you have the right settings. If you're using new material, I always advise to do a test cut just to make sure. So while we're doing that, I will pull this out. The hardest part, I think, when you get a new machine or something is actually making that first cut, because you're just thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, am I gonna break it? Is something gonna go wrong here? What if I do break it? And so I think that is like so always makes everybody so nervous. And you just have to go for it. You're not gonna break it, and especially in the software, you're not gonna break anything. You can always undo or close your file and come back to it if you need to. So with the vinyl, you need to use a transfer tape. So I'm just going to be using this clear transfer tape on my vinyl. Once I take it out and knead it, we'll put that on top of there. So once it's done cutting, it stops and resets, the blade resets, and then you'll come along and unload your mat. So I just push that out and I've got my hot lips are right on the top there. Now from here, I usually turn my mat upside down to remove my material. That's just a habit I have where I do that for everything, because especially with cardstock, if you pull your cardstock up off the mat, it will, your material will curl. So you want to kind of pull it off that way. Now, once you're ready to remove your vinyl, we're just going to weed that off. So you just kind of take a corner and you put your weeding tool in there. Now I like to start, if you notice my lips have like little floating shamrocks here over to the lips. So I start on this side here where the lips are, where I have more material to pull back with, and I just slide it back. I'm just literally just walking it back. When I get to the little shamrocks, I may have to go a little slower, and you just do a rock and roll. So you rock it side to side and then you just roll it off. And I will tell you that removing vinyl, doing the weeding, definitely is, there's a learning curve to it. Make sure I got everything. I sure did. Make sure I got everything off there. It's so as you do it more, it gets easier. So the first time you do it, you may struggle with it a little bit, but once you get that rolling feel for it, it's really very natural to remove it. So I pulled back a corner of my, I pulled back a corner of the transfer tape, and I'm just going to put that down over my image. And then I'll fold that down and pull the backing off of the transfer tape. Now I don't have to worry too much about, bubbles or things like that on this part of it. But I do use my wedge and I run it over to make sure everything is going to be stuck on that transfer tape. Then we have, I'm looking for my spray. I put it somewhere. You want to clean your surface. So you want to take a lint. Sorry, I had alcohol spray somewhere. You want to take like a window cleaner or something and a lint-free brush, and go ahead and wipe off your glass and make sure there's no fingerprints or anything like that in there. Sorry, I lost my little spray bottle. So when you're ready, you just are going to remove the backing of your vinyl. Now, again, I do a fold and roll. So I'll take it and I'll fold it and then I'll roll it back a little bit. And when you've got little pieces you're working with, they do sometimes want to hold up on your paper, but you want to push those back down. So you just kind of fold it if you need to, and then roll it back. You don't want anything to pop off. So you just fold it along and roll it. And if something does come off, you can always put it back. So like if one of these little shamrocks came off or changed position on me, I could always come back. That's where your weeding tool is super helpful. You can just kind of come in, pick it up and move it to where you need it to. Somehow I got one little shamrock off. So we'll just put that right back. Okay. And then we just take it and center it on your project. This is where you want to make sure you have no bubbles. So you really want to use that wedge and work all that vinyl down onto your glass surface. If you're using permanent vinyl, it's going to stay here. If you're using a removable vinyl, you'll be able to take it off. I usually say if you're gifting something, give it like 72 hours to set before you wash it or gift it. Now, once you have that all set, if you wanted to do more corners, you certainly could. And then I can just take some treasure. Rollers are perfect for St. Patrick's Day, and just put those in there with the lid. And now I have my St. Patrick's Day candy dish. It's all set to go. So that is a quick and easy vinyl project that you can make. You could do that today. You can put on any kind of glass jar that you have. Let me just make sure we don't have any lingering. So what is an SVG design? Great question, Cindy. SVG is a file type. So, you have like a JPEG think of a JPEG as like a picture. An SVG is a file that has the markings for cutting. And I always forget what the SVG stands for. But basically, it works with a plotter. And it tells all those points. It gives all the points that the blade needs to follow to make the cut. So your JPEG file and your PNG files are not cut files. Those are like print files, but an SVG file is a cut file. So that's the difference. All right, I'm going to unplug this one and I'll bring over the Cameo 4 and we'll work with that a little bit and see if we can get those questions answered about your cutting. Grab this guy and we'll bring him over and we'll do some stickers and a card. So I'm okay. Chanel, let me know if you think I need to switch to my overhead camera. I kind of am liking the front view, but you know better.
I think the front view has been looking good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So now this is the Cameo. I'm going to turn him on. So I love that sound. So happy. Okay, so for this one, we are going to make a card. And the card is that star card where I had the good job. And I added the good job in the text. So why don't we go in the software and I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my design page and I can go back to the star card. Now you would add the star card image onto your canvas the same way. So you go to your library or the design store and add that image onto there. So I need to swap to the Cameo 4 here. And I have my fonts. Now, with the basic level of the Studio, Silhouette Studio, you have the fonts that are on your computer. So you can add as many fonts as you want to on your computer. And then they just pull into the Silhouette Studio. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the A and create a layer for text. And I'll type in good. And then I'll change the font. So I know I used a font called, I think it's called Retro or Metro Retro or something like that to make it originally. So let's just go ahead and Retro Magic. I think that's what I used. Oops, no, but that's cute. I'll keep that font. So there's my good, and I changed my font, and then I want to copy it. So I'll do Control C, Control V, just like you would if you were in your, your Microsoft Word or something like that. Same keyboard shortcuts. So I'll say good job on this design. And I'm actually going to, let me just move this card kind of out of the way a bit. The space around the page, you can like take your items and completely move them over and off the page until you're ready for them. So they don't cut or anything like that. You can just move those over. So let's just look and see if I've got my good job, how that's going to line up for me. So I'll select around both of those and bring those onto my card. So that looks pretty good. I can go a little bit bigger if I wanted to, but I could also just leave it as is. Once I have that all together, I'm going to go ahead and group that together so those will stay together. But if I wanted to add an outline, so you see my good job over here, I have my letters and then the outline on it. I would take the good job word and over on the right side, you're going to add an offset. So that's the little star with the outline around it. When you create stickers or you want to create something else to cut, you want to do that offset. So I'm going to do the offset and I kind of want to go a little bit bigger, just a hair bigger. So each of my individual letters has the offset. So each of those individual letters is, treated individually. Then when I click apply, it merges that all together. Now, if I wanted to change the color of it so I could see like, how's my card going to look if I change the color? My background is actually going to be a darker blue. And my good job is going to be more of a turquoisey blue. And then my card is going to be yellow. So I can kind of play around with it that way. If I want to go bigger, I can select both of these layers. You hold the shift key so you can select more than one, and I can just go a little bit bigger if I want to. So there's my good job and my outline. Now, for my purposes, I'm actually not going to keep this one. I'm going to use the one I originally did because less gluing. Everything's kind of kept together on this one. So I'm just going to keep those there. Do you see all these little points around the outline of good job? That's what makes this an SVG. All of those points are like North Stars for your cutter to know where to move the blade next. So it moves it all the way around there. Okay, so once I have that card designed, I'm ready to send it to my machine to cut. So if I wanted to cut that out of the card, I could just leave it there and it would cut it out of the card. But I don't want to do that. I want to have my card be one color, my background be another color, and my words, my letters, good job, be another color itself. So I'm going to go ahead and position these on the mat, and then I need to put my paper where I have these positioned. So I like to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I just want to make sure I had that in the bottom quarter there. All right, so once I've got that all laid out, I'm just going to do the send. And I'm going to select which machine I'll be using. And this time I'll use the Cameo 4. And I'm using a textured cardstock. So that's the material I'm going to use. And it's awaiting connection. So it's connecting. I may have to go back to my devices setting and make sure I'm connected. I think I saw it there. Oh, there we go. All right, so now it's telling me to load my material. All right, so let me stop sharing this. Sorry, let's see. And it didn't stop share. That's weird. Okay, sorry about that. Stop share. All right, so now I have my larger mat. And you can do this whether you're using a portrait or the Cameo. You can, whatever size mat you're using, you would do the same thing. So I'll do my top card here, my good job, and then my background here. So I can even use smaller scraps if I had, if I had them. But basically, you're going to do this 1980s color block and color block everything. And my card should cut out here, my individual letters here, and then my background there. So you just come over to your machine, you'll line it up along the line. And I don't know, my question here about the cutting. So you can't get it to cut where I want it to. All right, so Kevin, I don't know if that answered your question. It will start where you have it on your mat. So if you want, like my card, I want to cut up here. So I put my yellow material there, and on that page setup, that's where that card is laid out. So then I just load it into the machine and I go ahead and hit send. So you're just going to go back into your software and hit send. Now it's going to cut all the, hopefully, it'll cut the card, the top part, and then the outline will all cut right there. All right, while that's cutting out, let's start to talk a little bit about stickers. So let me see if you have this question. I'm trying to print to my printer for a baby book cover page, and I keep getting a white border. How do you get rid of the white border and make it solid color? So when I am cutting, I add the border. I add the border with the offset feature, just like I added the outline around the job. I use the offset feature to cut to add that border around it. If I didn't want that border to cut, I could set that to no cut. So if I go back into the software, I'll share my screen here, kind of. If I go back into the software and let's say I didn't want to have this layer cut, I would just go to the right side here and say no cut. When I say no cut, that means it will not cut that layer. So if you're getting a layer, I don't know if I can go, I'm a little bit nervous to go back to the design page while I'm cutting this. Should we try it? I feel like I should be able to, but you know what? It's been a while. I don't want to mess it up. But so if you have an image, so like this little sheet here, these are stickers, and these are all designed to have a white border around it. Some of the white borders are very thin, and some of them are very thick. So I chose the thickness for my borders of how they're gonna work. See if I can go to my overhead camera here. So this is this little guy here. And you can see he's got like a little border around him. So he's got like a very small border around him. But this sticker here, I did a much thicker border around this sticker. So this one has a much thicker border around it. Now there's a border around the little character, and then there's the outside border. I set the outside border as my cut border. The border around the little guy doesn't cut. So you just have to choose if you want to cut that border or not. And I have been dying to put this on my book. So we're going to put her right there. So this is just a sticker on white paper. And let's put this little guy in here. So my stickers just go there. So if you're a planner or scrapbooker, you can be making your own stickers. All right, now we are ready to see how this all cut. Let me come back to, I'll come back to my front camera here. You can see how it all cut out. So again, I will turn my my mat upside down and pull the mat off of the material. So Jess, if you're using a sticker, if you're wanting to make stickers, it's really up to you what printer works best for you. Everyone kind of has a different opinion. Some people, like I know with my cameras, I only use a Canon camera, and that's because that's the kind of lens I've always used. So my lenses are interchangeable, and I'm familiar with the interface of the Canon camera. If you have always been an Epson print girl or guy, then you may want to use an Epson printer, or you may want to use a Canon printer or a Brother printer. As long as you are, let me just do one at a time here. What I would say, I use the Epson Eco Tank, and I have to say, I really do like the Eco Tank because my ink lasts forever, and I get good, I'm happy, satisfied with my quality of my prints. Other people prefer different types of printers. So I can speak to the Eco Tank because that's what I have and that's what I use. But somebody else may say, oh, I have a Canon and I love it. I can't imagine using something else. I would just want to remind you to look for a printer that has a really good print quality to it. And by that, I mean, you get really good colors. And if you're making stickers, you are going to be eating ink. So personally, I like the, I should be using my little spatula here. I'm talking too much. I like the Eco Tanks, and I think other machines use Eco Tanks. Now, if you want to talk about sublimation, you may have noticed I have the Sawgrass printer behind me. I use the Sawgrass for tumblers and all kinds of things. for sublimation printing. And you can do that right from your Silhouette software for your tumblers or anything like that. You can just do that right in there. And you can print right to your sublimation printer. So if you are using, if you're using the Sawgrass printer, when you go to print, and I can show you how to do that, any printer you're using, you print just like you would your regular print. That makes sense. So you don't have to do anything special. You can print right to your printer, or you can print through the Sawgrass PrintMate software, where you get even more options on your print quality. So, but I would, it's hard. I did upgrade my printer a couple years ago to the EcoTank, and I was really glad that I did, because I really wasn't happy with my colors. But sometimes, like, you see a color on your monitor and then you print out and you're like, it's not working, it's not a good color match. And like sometimes for me, like if my colors are too blue on my printer, that kind of is a sign to me that my yellow's running out. If I'm looking for something that's a little bit more green. All right, so I'm just gluing my pieces together while we're chatting about printers and such. Okay, like that. And then the card itself had a little perforation down the center of it. So we were able to do the perforation, and that's kind of like the score line. You may have heard that. And then you just have your little centerpiece, and we're going to put on there. And this is the same, you would do the same, that offset technique. Like if you're making cake toppers or anything like that, you would use that same technique there. So there's our little card. Good job. That's a good project to start with, the good job, because then you make it and you're like, yeah, I did a good job with that. You're right, I did that. All right, so let's talk about stickers. And Kevin, I hope that answered your questions about the cutting, the placement, or not. I know we're Chanel, are we good on time? You said if you guys, I think the class was listed until 8, but we have until 8:30. So if you have if you can hang around, great. And looks like I'll have a couple minutes to answer that question if I didn't get the question answered. But let me share my screen again, and we are going to look at stickers this time. So in the design, I have a sticker sheet that I created. Now this one in particular, I did create my own stickers and bring them into the software. If you're doing something like that, or if you're using a design from your library, like you could come into the library, grab an image and bring it onto your canvas. Let's get this guy's size down here. And so let's say this is what I wanted to print out. Now, if I wanted to print this and do no cutting, if I send it to my machine and I say send, see all those red lines? That's going to cut out. If I don't want that, I would say do not cut out any of these red lines. These are no cut, like that. And then if you wanted a round, no cut. If I wanted to make this into more of a sticker design though, I would have to go in and add an offset to this design. Let's get nice and big offset going there, and we'll apply that. So now you can see that red line behind it. That is the offset line. I'm going to turn it red. So it will cut around the outside of that sticker. Kathy, I hope that answers your question. If you wanted to have that be white, then you could leave that white and have that as your offset cut. If you wanted to cut around this shape, but be right on the shape, then your offset would just have to be way smaller. You would just bring your offset down a whole bunch to like maybe a 0.05 would be your offset. I guess we can't do it that little. Let's do a 1. Oops, I want to do that. There we go. Oops. Let's do a 0.05. and apply that. So now you can see my offset is really tiny, but in doing it that way, I have all these other pieces that are going to cut. And so I'd have to go in and manually remove each of those pieces. Now for something like this guy, he's all ready to go. So I'm ready to print this. So I'm going to hit the print icon and I'm going to send that to my printer. Now, what's going to happen is my print window will pop up and I'll choose which printer I'm sending it to. And then I just select print. You can adjust it, like if you're printing it on special paper or anything like that, you can adjust that for specialty papers or anything like that. Okay, and so while that's printing, I'm gonna let that print and then we'll come over to the send and you'll see those red lines on the outside edge of all my little sticker guys. That's where it's going to cut. So let me stop share there. All right, so I hope I got both of your questions answered. If not, please feel free to type in again, or I don't know, Chanel, if we can let anybody raise their hand and call on them. You guys we can try that if that will help answer your question. When you're working on stickers, there's so many different types of materials that you can use. I just used the Silhouette white sticker paper, but you can also add like a laminate sheet on your sticker, and then you can have your sticker where it will just cut out like what's called a kiss cut. So it does just the little cut on your design here. Let's get him going. So this is a kiss cut where the stickers comes off, but the sheet stays intact. And then you can design it where your stickers completely come off. They're cut through, and that's a sticker right there. So you can design it different ways. Work with your cut settings so that you get your cut settings right. And my printer just finished. So let me go grab that so we can get that. I can show you guys how to do that. All right, let me go over here. Sorry, my printer's across the room for me. Now you do want to make sure that your mat is cleaned off before you use it again. So I got my, what's that? Oh, it printed on the wrong side. It printed on the wrong side. Let me send that again. Sorry. I had a printer catastrophe today. I had my sticker paper in our family printer, and somebody sent a whole bunch of documents to the printer, so it printed on a bunch of my sticker paper by accident. Okay, let me just resend that to print. So we're going to send that one again. All right. Okay. All right. So what questions do you guys have while that's printing and we're getting this set up? What other questions did you guys have? Were you hoping to get answered? I'd love to know if you have your machine already, if you've set it up or you haven't set it up, and now you're like, oh, I'm so excited about everything I can make and get set up. I did have another little project here I wanted to show you guys that was fun. I used over Valentine's Day, was the Silhouette scratch off paper. And I made these little scratch off cards with a little sentiment underneath, and then you scratch off the top. Silhouette also has probably my very favorite product of all time is this tattoo paper. If anybody out there is a coach, or you work with kids or anything like that, tattoos, we used to do this for my lacrosse team, and we would make tattoos like for our playoff games, and the girls would put them on their arms or their shoulders or wherever, and it became a thing. And that's actually how we got them to the practice early, was telling them if you're here on time, you'll get a tattoo. Okay, it just finished printing. You go grab it. Now you'll notice when I printed it in the design of this sticker sheet, that it has registration marks. So you see in the corners here, it has registration marks. If you are laminating your sticker sheet, I usually keep my lamination inside those sticker marks. So my laminate sheet will go inside the registration marks. And you can align your page either horizontally or vertically. So you may be like, she's putting it on wrong, but I can do it like that, just so long as my single square is up in the top corner. And then I'm just gonna load this in. Now, Kathy, these do have the white outline around them, but that's how I design them. So they have that on there. And I'm going to sticker paper white. We're gonna send that on. Oops. Oh, it's telling me I don't have anything loaded. Let me unload. Load it again. No media loaded. That's so weird. What am I doing wrong here? It's telling me I have no media loaded. Do I have the right thing? Cameo for, okay, it's ready. Now I hit send. Now it's going to do a process called registering, and it's going to go through and find all those different marks. It's going to find a little square and then these other little lines on the side. If it doesn't find it, you can always send it through and say, try again. I think it's there. And then sometimes I will take my phone and line and like spotlight it with my phone. I find that helps too sometimes. It can just be anything. But now we're making stickers. All right. So I hope I got everybody's questions answered. We'll let this go through and then I'll show you, because it does the registration marks, and that's how it knows how to cut around your shape and do that just perfectly. And I love it now that I've done all these little workout stickers. I'll have no excuses not to work out and write down my workout. I love it. And there's so many you can do within the design store. There's whole pages of sticker sheets, or you can make your own with different images. You can import it. Why don't I show you real quick? I'll show you how to import. Okay, I'm really hoping I don't mess something up. Okay, so let's go here. So I can come back and work. So if I'm going to import a file that I downloaded or purchased from Etsy or anything like that, I can just go on that little file here where it says the little file image, and I would navigate to the folder that I had, and I bring this image in. So when I bring that image onto my canvas, it comes in obviously super big. So let's just make her smaller. Now, when I send this over as just coming in, it will just show as a print. There's no cut line or anything with it. It would just print it. What I need to do is do a trace. And so if I do a trace, I can select the area I'm going to trace. This is how you, this may be what you might need to go back and do, Kathy, with your baby page. You just bring a threshold and the despeckle threshold up and say trace the outline, and it does exactly. Now you can see that red line, that's the outline. And then if you wanted to, that will cut exactly around the outline of this shape. If I wanted to add if I wanted to add that white border to it, then I would go to the offset feature, apply my offset, and let's do a little bit bigger. I'll go really big here so you can see how big you can go. So now I have the offset, and let's say I want to make that white. I can now delete this one I'll send the background to the back. And then I have my little person right here in the center. We can grab both pieces and align them on the center just like that. Now, when I send it to the machine, it's only going to cut along that outline. Easy? All right. And here are our little athletic guys, our little athletic gnomes. They're ready to work out. Here we go. And they do have a cute little white border that is perfectly around all the different sides. Here we go. He's doing push-ups. All right, guys. Chanel, thank you. I think we got all the questions answered, and I appreciate you all being here. Oh, you know what? Let me do one thing, if you don't mind. I said I was going to share the link to the presentation. Let me grab that, and I can share that with everybody. Let me share that. And I'll drop that in the chat right now. So you guys, if you want that information, it's right there. You can copy that, and then I'll take you right to the presentation. So I'll just give everyone a minute to do that, if you want that. And we'll put my little sticker, another little gnome. There you go. Put that one on the back. Oh, fun. I love it. Well, guys, I can't wait to see what you do. Don't forget, Learn with Michaels is the hashtag on Instagram. So if you make something after the workshop, if it's your first silhouette project or anything like that, please do tag your image with Learn with Michaels so we can see it. And if you're interested in learning more about the sublimation printers, we do have some fun classes coming up in March, specifically on the sublimation. And then we have another class in March for making a planter and some other home decor fun stuff. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Chanel, so much for being here with us. Hope everyone has a great evening. Toodaloos.